you don't have, when you're not at your normal base. But Andrea, please let me know if I'm live. Send me a text or whatever. But anyway, if you all are on right now, I want to share some things with you tonight. I decided to just take a detour from the regular schedule that we were doing with the book of Revelation and just talk to you for a few minutes about marriage in lieu of my husband and my 36th wedding anniversary, which we are celebrating. So we are celebrating that anniversary, and I thought we would take a little detour from Revelation and share some things with you about marriage, take some questions and answers. So we did get some questions that came in, and I want to have an opportunity to go over those questions with you. Just want to say praise the Lord and greetings to everybody in the precious name of Jesus. We just thank God for all of you, and we thank God for all of the well wishes and greetings that we received for our 36th wedding anniversary. So may the Lord bless you. And I'm just so grateful to God for allowing us this opportunity to share with you today during this anniversary, and looking forward to seeing you all very soon. But I just wanted to share some things with you in light of the fact that so many people were commenting on our anniversary, and I want to thank those of you who posted greetings to us or sent greetings to us in any way. So I'm just so grateful to God, because one of the things that we have been studying in the book of Revelation is how the church had been impacted by the culture, and how the saints of God had been impacted not only by their culture, but every aspect of their lives have been impacted by where you live, by the people who are around you, the things that you see, the experiences that you have, and what is actually happening in the culture. And so I think that as Christians, as saints of God, as we called one another years ago, and in the New Testament church as saints, we are impacted also in our homes and in our marriages, our families, by the things that happen around us. And we have to take a stand for Jesus Christ and his relationship with us, and our relationship with him impacts, or should impact, every area of our lives. So my husband and I have been married for 36 years yesterday, and people often ask us the question, how is it that
overall situation, and what's best for both of them, and what's best for the situation. And if he does take leadership, it should be in care and consideration for the couple, and all that's involved in that. It should be.
So you heard Bishop's reply to that question. It doesn't necessarily mean that come out of life, it should be in the best interest of the family, in the best interest of the marriage, the best interest of that relationship and of that home. Because if a decision is made, and one person is feeling unsupported or disrespected or devalued or unappreciated, then that's not going to turn out for the benefit of the marriage or the benefit of that couple. It's not having the other person's best interest at heart. And I think that there's a big word that we have to all come to understand. It's a word called deference. It means to yield to the very, very valuable and important question. And I have to start out by saying, I was not raised in holiness. I was not raised in a home where people went to church that really knew the Lord. I'll put it like that. We ended up, being sent to church because we went to Catholic school. But and so when I think I would have to be the first generation of people in my family who actually raised children in holiness. And that word cynical, sometimes when you're raising children, and I think it's such a good question, and they were really birthed into ministry, and both parents were involved in ministry. It is very, very true that they can grow up to have a degree of cynicism, kind of like, yeah, well, this don't really apply to me, or I'm not really taking it seriously, or kind of mocking, or not appreciating or valuing it. And I've learned this, and I've seen this to be true, particularly in pastoral families. And I think as I thought about that question, one of the reasons is that children whose parents are in ministry, they see so much. And I have to use my own children for an example. The things that I've heard them say and things that I've discovered and experienced with them over the years. They've seen us hurt. They've seen us wounded. They've seen us offended. They've seen people in the church say that they love us, and then they saw them leave or mistreat us, or stab us in the back, or what they might consider being stabbed in the back, or maybe smiling in your face, but maybe not saying all the nice things that they say to your face behind your back. And they saw that down through the years. And I think if I had it to do all over again, I would talk to my children more about these things. But again, I didn't know to talk to them about these things because I had never experienced them before. Had I grown up maybe in a pastoral family or a ministerial family, or had been raised in church myself, then I would have probably been more accustomed to some of the things that my children experience, and I might have been able to help ward off some things that I was not able to help ward off because they were all new to me as they were new to them. And my husband and I had been married for exactly 2 weeks. 2 weeks when we came to Bethesda Temple Church in Alton, Illinois. So I had moved 1,000 miles from my parents, family, everything that I knew, came to a new city, a new church home, being a new wife in a totally different situation than I had been previously, and becoming a pastor's wife at the same time. And so I'm learning with my children. And so the experiences that I had in church, I was having with them, but they were looking at them from another perspective. And so the things that my children say to me now that were said to them, some of the things that were said to them, I had no idea that they were said to them. And it wasn't just by members of the church. It could have been people who were visiting. It could have been people who were, and maybe it wasn't something that was altogether that bad or difficult, but the way them. And so they can develop a degree of cynicism because they stop believing everything that they hear and say, and they become very guarded. They become very careful. They become very skeptical of people and systems and of the church itself, and it's something that I've tried to be a little bit more careful about with my grandchildren. But just from my conversations with them, I can see that I think it's just something that goes with the territory. But one of the things that I am really, really working on, and I would advise anyone in ministry to work on, is to talk to your children. Don't just guard them, but talk to them. And I had a talk with mine here recently, and I said things to them like, listen, I know this is painful. I know this hurts when X, Y, and Z happens, but this goes along with the territory. Here's how you have to think about that. Here's how you have to look at that, which is something that I did not do with my own children because I was learning and I didn't know those things. And I have to say that I probably was more reactionary than actionary, than initiating action. I probably was more reacting to things because even, you got to think too, that's 30 years ago. And as ministers, we learn and we grow in ministry and we develop and we don't know everything. And so here I was, a young woman, and with very young children, with no help or support. From I didn't have my mother or family members who actually lived here with me. I mean, I had some help from some of the young women at the church after a while, but I didn't even feel comfortable really depending on people to do some of the things that people do for me now. So I had to learn some things and I had to grow in those areas. And so as you grow, you're able to teach, you're able to share, and you have to be able to share with your children concerning ministry and just talking to them and teaching them that people are people no matter where you go. That church hurt is going to be the same as work hurt, family hurt, neighborhood hurt, whatever it is. Whenever you're dealing with people, you're going to experience hurt. And so as we grow and we learn those things and we're careful how we respond, and we're honest with them, because children have a very keen sense of justice and right and wrong and how things should really be. And so they become very guarded and they think to themselves, that's never going to happen to me. I'm never going to let anybody do that to me. I'm independent. I'm not going to, I'm not taking that. I'm not putting up with that. And I saw how people did, and people said that they cared about you or they cared about us. And then they turned around, they did this, they did that. And so those are the things I think that can make them cynical. And so one of the things that my husband and I do today is we actually sit down and with our grandchildren and we have conversations. We read the Bible at home. We talk together, and and I try to be a little bit more transparent with them than I was maybe some years ago, because years ago I think we just tried to protect our children from things, and when we were hurting, we cried silently, we cried in our closets, and that's not to say that we have to just boo-hoo and let everything out in front of them now, but I think it's a difference because we are able to be honest, more honest with them, and they appreciate it and they value it. I think it's a different day that we live in. So I think in order to keep children from being cynical, to summarize it, we have to talk to them, be honest with them, and there's nothing wrong with you being a human being. You don't have to be Wonder Woman or Superman because you're both in ministry together, and involve them, engage them in ministry. Don't try to protect them from ministry, where they don't have to get involved in the work. Let them be involved in the work. Cause them to be involved in the work. And so I would say that those are some helpful things, and live the life before them. Read the scriptures to them and with them. Talk about things as they happen in the church, and as they get old enough to handle those things, and ask them how they feel about things, and don't just assume that they are taking it in the right way, or that they're taking it properly. So I think those would be some of my answers for that. Do you have any questions, answers for that? Okay.
Good answer.
All right. And so I hope that answers that question. So I have another question here, and this question says, how do you not make marriage the idol? How do you not make the marriage itself the idol? How do you love God and work on your relationship with Him first and foremost, so that you can love your spouse well? Well, I want to say from that, I said to my husband one time years ago when we first got married, I said, I need to go to the church and pray. It might seem like I'm at the church a lot, but trust me, you will like me better if I have my relationship with the Lord, because it is our relationship with God that colors every relationship that we have. Without a relationship with the Lord, without a vibrant, glowing, growing, thriving relationship with God, it's very difficult to be well enough to have a healthy relationship with somebody else. And we have to think in terms of putting God first, putting the Lord first. It's so important to me to get up in the morning and pray before everybody gets up. That my day does not go the same when I don't do that. If you don't get a jump on your day through prayer, your day will jump on you, and you'll find yourself maybe not responding as nicely as you could or should. Um, Being able to handle all of the things that come to us in the course of the day, you have to have that relationship with God. You have to spend time in His Word. It just sets everything else in order. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have a stressful or hectic day or challenging day, but you prepared yourself. You put on your armor. You have dressed yourself in righteousness and prayer in the presence of the Lord. And so that is very important. And I think husbands and wives have to respect their mate's time with the Lord, and not just respect it, but encourage it. Encourage them to spend time with the Lord so that they can be ready to spend time with you. So I hope that answers that question. And the last one that I have is about balancing life, family, work, and marriage. How do we balance life, family, work, and marriage? That is a very, very, very good question. Balance, rightly dividing or equally dividing time. I think that you have to set your priorities. I think, and God has to be first. And it's almost like there's some days that it's gonna look like a 60-40 picture when you talk about life, family, work, marriage. Some days it might look like 50-50. Some days it might look like 40-60, depending on what you have to do. I think it's important that you realize that in order to have that balance, you have to first balance yourself as a person, and that's that spending time with God, putting things into perspective, recognizing and realizing what's coming next. Like, for instance, our granddaughter started high school at a Lutheran high school, college prep school, and we're very happy and very excited about that. So that was an adjustment for me. It was an adjustment in my schedule. And I had remembered a couple weeks ago when she first started, she had some papers that were due, and I was up to like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning almost, helping her with some papers. We were trying to get adjusted to this new schedule, her coming out of division and bedtime is not for them as much as it is for you. Get a bedtime for them. Don't have those, especially little bitty children, don't have those jokers up to 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night and just going to bed when they get ready. They'll be whining and crying, and you need time with your mate. You need time to think. You need time to rest and relax. Put them in the bed. Get them, have a routine. Set your time. This is time for your bath, your last meal, your snack. Get in that bed, and then you have time to be free or to do work or to spend time maybe with another child, an older child, or whatever the case is. But you got to get, you have to, you why do they say this right now? But they would say, well, he worked all day. Well, he come home, get them babies out the way, let them get some rest. And that's true and good. We have to be considerate to each other. But men today are different. They want to be engaged with their children. I mean, they may not want to, just do it all night long, but they're willing to help, and you should utilize them. And don't feel badly because they don't do it just like me. That's another system. When my kids were little, some kind of way, people think that women are just better at handling children than men. Well, the reason in many cases we're better is because we get the day-to-day experience. But if we would step out of the way and let them have it sometimes, they will get the experience and they'll become just as good as we are in their own way. And so that's something that we have to learn. That's a system that we have to put in place in our households, that you have to support one another when it comes to the children. Where one person is not feeling stressed out and weighed down and, just so miserable because they don't ever get a break. It is not an easy job just being home taking care of babies all day. Some women would rather be out, honestly, I'm just being honest, some women would rather be out working because they get some intelligent conversation, they get a break, not to say that that's what they should be doing. I'm just talking about the reality of it. And so with the children and with our spouses, we need to support each other. We need to give each other a break. Husbands, give your wife a break. Even if she might need an hour just to go take a bath with some Calgon and a candle or some Epsom salt or something like that, just to be able to relax, or maybe some time to pray. And so that support is very, very valuable. But when we think that we have to do it all by ourselves and we're hesitant about involving the other mate, you're going to feel frustrated and burnt out very, very quickly. So balance that life, family, work, marriage. As far as the marriage is concerned, remember that before you had children, it was the two of you. And when all is said and done and those children are born, guess what? It's going to be the two of you again. So don't just make your relationship null and void because you have kids. As the children get old enough for you to leave with somebody, spend that time together. Take some time to talk to each other. Take some time to be with each other. As the kids get old enough to sleep in their own rooms, in their own bed, do that as quickly as you can. As quickly as you can. I know that's not an easy task, because some of those jokers, they will not leave your room. But you know what? Keep taking them in there. It takes a little bit. Take them back in there. Every time they come, take them back in there. Take them back in there again. After a while, they'll begin to be able to sleep in their own bed. You need that break. You need that break so that you can be the best mom, the best parent that you can be. So I hope that was helpful to you. And if you have any more questions, which I just have this one device, so I don't really know how to go in and look at questions. But if you put questions in the comments, I'll answer them again. And this is something special, as I said, that I wanted to do in honor of our 36th wedding anniversary. Oh, the one thing I was going to say concerning the children is when our children were little, oh my God, that mother instinct is so strong. It's so strong, and you want to answer every call. You want to answer everything. And I remember one time I had to go it's important for them to have a mother and a father in the home because they need to get acclimated and adjusted to both methods of parenting. One is not necessarily right and the other's wrong. One is not necessarily better than the other one. It's just that we are different and we're supposed to be different and we should celebrate our differences. So they just learned that, well, hey, dad is going to be fun because we're going to get to eat what we want while she's gone, and we don't have to sit down at the table right then and whatever. And that was okay. So we have to learn how to share in those responsibilities and realize it is not the end of the world because it wasn't done the way I would have done it. Okay, as long as it gets done. So that's what I had to learn when I was a young mother, and I want to pass that on to all of you concerning balance and marriage, work, and family. So I hope that answers your questions. And if you have any questions, again, you can put them in the comments. And this is special. And I would have put my husband on more, but he didn't really want to be on more. He just wanted to kind of talk from the side of here. But thank you so much, and I hope that, and I know some of you mothers who are watching and listening, and it's kind of dark, so I know it's like a little shadow or something on my face because there's a light and it's dark outside, and I'm actually in the car. So, but some of you mothers, I know you have so many positive things to say and so much more advice. I don't know which of you is watching, but I've learned so much from even the mothers of our church. Mother Clark, she shares so many things with me about raising children. Mother Ellis has, you can just look at her and tell that she has just done an excellent job with her children. So I want to say to you young women to utilize the mothers of our church. Utilize the mothers of your church. Walk alongside them and just talk to them about things and hear some of the things that they're saying and receive some of those things. And don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged. And those of you who are mothers of teenagers and young adults, don't be discouraged. The story is not over. All of our children might go through some different things in life, but you know what? The Bible says that many are the temptations of the righteous, but God delivers him out of them all. So you be encouraged as parents, and be encouraged to continue to love your children and nurture them and support them, and just realize that nothing is the end of the world but the end of the world. Oh, this other little bit of advice that I learned really after my children were grown, but I learned that your house reflects the age of your children. You know, I used to always want everything to be just perfect. My grandson, who is 4 years old, said to me just the other day, he said, Nana, I know you want your house clean. This is what he said. You guys know him. He says, I know you want your house clean. He says, but we got to play. We have to play. And so they have a little playroom, and but that's another system. See, another system that I put in place. If you want a certain room to be kept off limits, do that. When I was coming up, we didn't have a house big enough to say, don't go in this room, because in order to get to that room, you had to pass the room. But where I live now, I got an area that I don't want to have to keep going in there cleaning up. I don't want to have to keep going in there picking up toys. So you got an area to play in. Here's your space. I don't want toys brought down here. And those are things that help you put systems in place where you realize that you don't have to say yes to everything. You reserve your energy. They're not going to die if they can't tear up the whole house, mess up the whole house, bring food to the whole house. Sit them down. And that's another thing. Sit them down. If you got high chairs for little babies, lock them up in it and feed them like that. And they will learn that if you're going to eat, you got to sit here, because you're not going to eat and walk around and leave a big mess for me to clean up. See, those are things that you learn, and some of you already knew that, and that's a great thing. But those are very important things to help you get systems in place, because you don't want to have to waste your energy doing unnecessary things that you're going to have enough to do. So those are just some systems and advice that I want to talk about, to put in place. Just having stuff organized so that you can move through things efficiently. So anyway, I just wanted to say that you should utilize the mothers of the church. Talk to them about your children. Talk to them about discipline. You will learn that as a parent, as a young parent, sometimes we're kind of lenient. We just, oh, they're just so cute. You like that as a grandmother too, but I'm telling you, you better get them while you can. Correct them, teach them, while you can, because that discipline is what trains them to be happy. Children need to know the boundaries. They need to know the expectations, what is expected of them. And once they know the expectations, they can live up to them and fulfill them, and that makes a happier child. So thank you so much, and I hope that this little bit of a broadcast was a blessing to you. Again, we deviated from our book of Revelation in order to bring this to you in honor of our 36th wedding anniversary. So God bless you, and thank you for listening.